G'day guys, how you doing? It's Christmas time for dual sport and adventure lovers with the big motorcycle show in Italy happening at the moment. The Transalp 750 just dropped. Is this an adventure tourer or is this a really dirt capable off-road adventure bike? Let's find out. I'm going to try and keep this video brief guys, and I will do a roundup of all the bikes once it's all said and done at Eicma, but let's just dive into the basic specs. And I think the thing that stood out for me most was the weight, 208 kilos. That's only 4 kilos more than the Tenere 700. So that really is a statement of intent from Honda that they're serious about the off-road potential for this Transalp 750, which I've got to admit is a surprise. I was thinking this was going to be more of an adventure tourer. The other thing that's got me excited about its off-road capability is the suspension. We've actually got a decent amount of travel at 200 millimeters up front and 190 mils at the rear, and they're both preload adjustable. Now they're not fully adjustable, so that probably suggests the kind of price point that Honda will be going with, but the fact that they've got suspension travel and weight on par with the Tenere 700 is, like I said, a statement of intent. The power characteristics was another one that was very interesting. 90 horsepower at 9,500 RPM and 75 Newton meters of torque at 7,250 RPM. So that's the exact same power figures that we saw from the Hornet 750. Now Honda have said that they have tuned this a little bit differently, but it is very interesting that despite the different tuning, we've still got the same power figures. So I will be waiting to see what the details are exactly on that story. But Honda have also stated that there's a various amount of maps which control the torque characteristics, the power characteristics, and all that kind of stuff. So you should be able to swap and change and select the best kind of mode for your riding style. The specifics of that, you've got a sport mode, a standard mode, a rain mode, a gravel mode, and the last one on the list is a user mode. And in this user mode is where you can fine tune the torque and power characteristics, the ABS switched on or off, and all the other settings that you can change within Honda's dash. So it's pretty cool that they will be able to make that somewhat customizable for each rider. The wheel setup, of course, is the correct setup. It's 21 at the front and 18 inches at the rear, both spoke wheels. The thing is here, they're both tubed. I know some people won't care, but I know also a lot of people are really hoping that this would be a tubeless system. When I got my GS way back in the day when I first got into off-roading, one of the cool things about going into BMW back then was you could choose all these different kinds of packs with various different accessories put together that would be fitted on your bike for a fairly competitive price. And that's what Honda's done here. They have the urban pack, the touring pack, the adventure pack, the rally pack, and the comfort pack. And that combines various different components from Honda's accessory list so you can be ready to ride for whatever kind of scenario you've got planned. The seat height is 850 millimeters, which is pretty respectable and 5 millimeters less than the V-Strom 800DE that's just been released as well. And I should mention that 200 millimeters of suspension travel does give you 210 millimeters of ground clearance, which is fairly respectable for a middleweight adventure bike. Now let's talk about the range you get out of the tank. So the tank itself is 16.9 liters. I think that turns out to be about 4.5 gallons. Now the bike is stated to do about 23 kilometers per liter. That's pretty impressive. That's what my WR250R did with a few mods on it. The range of the petrol tank, roughly 390 kilometers is what you should expect. That's what Honda is stating. I think that is roughly 240-ish miles. I'm just doing that math straight off the top of my head. So that's a fairly decent range. It certainly isn't super tourer kind of lengths, but it also is a great compromise between lightweight but still having enough to do long distance. So I think Honda are bang on there with the 16.9 liters. Two things I would have liked to have seen is cruise control. It appears that the Honda hasn't got it. Whether it will in the future or whether it will be an accessory down the road as an extra price gouge remains to be seen, but I would have liked to have seen it standard. The other thing that I think you'll all agree on is tubeless wheels here. I would have liked to have seen that. And the argument from Honda would be, yeah, but it would have bumped up the price. Hopefully Honda really offer us a fantastic price for the sacrifices they've made with this cruise control and the tubeless wheels not being on the list, but let's see what happens. However, the price equally could be the same as or slightly more than the Tenere, I wouldn't be surprised to see that either. I would be very shocked, and I think it would be a big mistake if Honda tried to pass this as a premium middleweight adventure bike and it was significantly more than a Tenere 700. But I don't think that will happen. I think this will be a fairly affordable middleweight adventure bike, and with the specs I've listed, it looks far more dirt capable than what I originally suspected. I thought they were going to lean heavily towards adventure tourer. It looks like they're going straight down the middle with fairly decent off-road capability, and Yamaha are probably starting to sweat a bit because this looks like a really good option if you didn't want a Tenere 700. I'm pretty hopeful that this will be fairly competent off-road and also will be reasonably affordable. So I'm really looking forward to this bike and how it does in the market. But I'd love to know your thoughts. Has this lived up to your expectations or has it fallen short? What were you expecting from this Transalp 750? And will you be getting one when they hit the showroom floors? Chuck your thoughts down below. See you in the next one real soon.